welcome to the Geek Embassy Watches Game of Thrones. I'm your host, Regina McMenemy, and I'm here today with Nicole Tanner and Isabela Oliveira. And I got your name right. Hey.
Yay!
It's
only been 5 or 6 years.
I know. It takes me time to find. Like, oh, it's Isabela. Yeah. I should know better. I know what it's like to have names mispronounced. That happens to me all the time. All right. And Nicole, many of you will know from listening to Gaming with the Moms. So welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. OMG. OMG.
We have so much to talk about, guys.
Yeah.
Like, so much. So I made the ever so wise decision. So there's 7 episodes this season. Like, they couldn't just do 10 and like give us a structure that I could do 2 and 2 and 2. But you know, so 7's an odd number. So we had to do one where we either did just 1 episode or we did 3. And I made the probably poor choice of doing 3 in 1 episode of the Geek Embassy Watches. So we're doing episodes 3, 4, and 5 of season 7. And we're going to try to run through these by region. And so by plot line for episodes. So we're going to start with the Queen's Justice, then we'll do Spoils of War, and then we're going to do Eastwatch. So much happens in these episodes. I mean,
I know.
There's so much, everything. There's so much plot advancing. There's so much, action. There's so much drama. There's so much death. I mean, there's just so much stuff going on. So we're gonna tackle it all in this episode. So be prepared. Spoilers ahead.
Right.
The night is dark and full of spoilers. This episode is full of spoilers. So be aware of that. I'm pretty sure everybody who's listening to this has watched it probably as obsessively as we are. And I'd like to thank Jay for requesting that we record last week because he really wanted to hear us talk about the dragons and the King's Guard.
Like I said, I was almost going to ask you and be like, look, we've got more than enough to talk about with just these 2 episodes.
Yeah,
maybe we should rethink that.
If I thought it would work out with schedule, but I know Isabela has class Thursday nights and was going away for the weekend, so I was like, there was no way.
You were also away, so
I was I was away Monday through Wednesday. Isabela had class on Thursday and then was leaving Friday, so pretty much kind of killed us. Like, I could have tried to have been home early enough on Wednesday to record, but that's always iffy with traveling with a toddler. Scheduling things like that needs to be scheduled.
I am always late. I used to be completely punctual. Now I am always late. Always.
I have always been late, so I have no excuse.
All right, so let's hop into the Queen's Justice. The summaries that we're looking at, we are having some help from fandom wiki that's the kind of walking through us. That's the summaries that we're looking at. I'll throw links up with that when I post the show. So let's start in King's Landing. So this is where we have Euron is returning with Yara and Ilaria and Tyen, and is parading.
Oh, that's her daughter's name. Okay.
Which you won't need to know anymore because probably the poison has taken effect at this point.
She's gonna die.
Yeah.
So were either of you in that scene with Cersei when she goes into the cell, or were either one of you freaking out because she had red lipstick on?
No, I didn't catch it at all.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice it either. You know, the first thing that rang with me about that scene is, Cersei is saying to Ilaria, like, how when Marcella was born that she didn't want to give her to the wet nurse and she couldn't bear to see her in someone else's arms. That is exactly word for word what she said about her supposed baby that she lost in the very first season. She says the exact same thing. So you don't know whether to believe her or not.
Yeah, at all.
She might just be making, especially now, I don't believe anything she says anymore.
Yeah. Like everything, like she's as bad as Littlefinger as far as I'm concerned in saying what she needs to say to manipulate the person that she's with.
Yes.
To whatever end she wants. And I think that's that's clear. But it's interesting to think about, because I've brought that scene up before, because I've thought for a long time that she might have actually had a hand in that baby dying because it was Robert's.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that she returned to that same language. And they're doing that a lot, where they're pulling a lot from the early seasons.
Yes.
I really am regretting that I didn't manage to rewatch the first 6 seasons before this one started, so I could kind of reacquaint myself with everything. But I might go back and do it after. We'll see.
Yeah, so I don't know what you guys think or not, but so Cersei does terrible things. She's obviously a terrible person, but the way that she carried out this is basically an eye for an eye. What she did here with the Sands. That was the only, like I told my husband Isaac, I was like, you know what? She was at least a little bit justified. It's not like blowing up the Sept and murdering hundreds of people.
Everybody for the couple of people you wanted dead. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like she knows how her daughter was killed, so she wants to, pay it back. It's the only time I believe I will ever feel that way about Cersei. But I was like, you know what? I'm kind of with her there a little bit. I mean, it sucks that the innocent daughter, has to deal with it.
Was the one that bears the brunt for her mother's choices. Yeah.
So,
I had kind of a similar thought to that, where there is a logic to Cersei that I appreciate.
Yeah.
In her actions and in her, like, she truly believes she's acting in her family's best interest.
Yes.
And I can step back from the crazy and at least acknowledge that I can appreciate that about her character.
Yes.
I think she's, nutso and she's doing everything wrong. But I think it's kind of interesting too, that it comes back and it hurts her so badly so often, but she still takes that crazy and just runs with it regardless.
Yeah. And some of the previous seasons, Tyrion had said, whatever else she is, she loves her children.
Yeah, exactly.
And, which is one of my favorite parts of the show. Is after Tyrion has sort of been captured after Joffrey's wedding and been blamed on, he's talking to Jane. I forget who it is he's talking to. He's like, the only person that I know that is not involved is Cersei. And he's like, and that makes it very unique by King's Landing standards. I love that part.
That's true, especially with regard to what happened in Eastwatch, where she's like, "Oh, of course I knew. Very little happens in King's Landing without me knowing about it."
Right. Yeah.
So it's interesting that is. Yeah, she's definitely in the plot. But that was the first thing I thought when she walked into that scene in the cell was, oh my God, she's got to have the poison on, because they never draw attention to her lips. She never looks like she's painted. And I'm like, this is odd. So
look at you being all perceptive like that. I totally didn't occur to me. I
did not have a clue.
Maybe it's a new look for her, She's and that dress. I mean, I don't want to get too fashion focused, but that dress that she was wearing had like the little spiky like crystal things on the side. I'm like, man, that's like a evil witch dress. Like
she's totally reminding me of the evil queen from Once Upon a Time now. With like the high collars and like she just used to be wearing like a crazy like fake ponytail to really
do it. I don't understand. This is really totally ridiculous to be talking about this, but I've been thinking, I don't understand why her hair is still so short.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's like no time has passed.
Right. But I know, and that's the whole funny thing about it, right? Because time has to be passing at some astronomical speed this season, because it's like from one episode to the next, people travel to, by boat. They're not taking dragons. Like, okay, I get that.
It's like not even a boat.
Dragons.
It's like a skiff. It's like
right. They're traveling, continental, lengths to places, from one episode to the next, which I know has got to be a choice that they made. That I'm sure, some criticism of the show is how long it takes takes for events to happen. But it is funny that like that marker of time, the short hair, hasn't sort of caught up with the speed with which we're seeing everything else happen. But maybe it's partially, you could, with Cersei's character, see her embracing it at this point, to keep it short as a screw you to the people who did it to her. Like, I'm going to remind you, not that any of them are alive, but, she killed all of them. But
it does make her look a little more like severe, because I saw her really long hair in like the first seasons.
Yeah.
With like the style with the braids and everything. And she's like totally like not doing that anymore. She doesn't care.
Yeah. I think it's, she's, I don't know. I think that's one of the things I like the most about this show, and the reason why it keeps bringing me back is I can always, as much as I may dislike certain actions of the characters, I always feel like there's something in each of them that continues to make me like them or want or cheer for them. So,
right. In my case, it's cheer against.
Cheer against, yeah. Like, she can go down and I'll be fine with that. But, I still can kind of see, like, her inner logic, I'm she crazy, like I said, but the inner logic I can appreciate from her.
I mean, it's like on the very first episode when Sansa said that she learned so much just from being around Cersei. So,
Yep. All
right. So you're on Crazy Euron. He hasn't been in the last couple episodes. I think he's supposed to be filling the sort of crazy villain role that has been filled by Ramsay and Joffrey, because I don't see anybody else that they're pulling up to do it, and he is acting kind of psycho. But he's nowhere near those other people.
Oh, right, because this is the episode where he talks to Jaime about what she's like to have sex with.
Yes. Yeah.
While they're standing in front of everybody.
Yeah, and because she said that she promised that she would marry him after the war is over, of course. But But when Cersei says that means she could just off you before the war is over.
There's no way she's gonna marry him. Like, there's just no way. But he was all proud of himself, and I'm like, oh, she just gave you a death sentence, and you didn't even realize it. You poor sob, you.
He's like, oh, the people, they love me. And Jaime's like, these are the same people that spat at Cersei not long ago.
Exactly.
Anyhow.
They're so fickle, and he's not,
so I want to see more of what's happening with him. And Yara, like, you don't even know what's going on with Yara.
Know. Like, she just disappeared. And it wasn't even, like, he took her. And then the next time we see his boat is later in this episode at Casterly Rock.
Right.
When Daenerys' troops have attacked Casterly Rock, thinking they'll take the stronghold from the Lannisters, only to find out that the Lannisters, anticipated that and had emptied everybody out.
Yes.
And were at High Garden doing bad things.
Which I think is really cool that Jaime said that he learned that lesson from Robb Stark, a sort of diversion tactic.
It was good that he made those. And well, let's talk about that then. I'll jump a little bit here, and then we can go back to the big thing, which was Jon and Daenerys meeting, and end this discussion of this episode on it. But let's jump to High Garden, and she's gone, and I miss her.
I know.
She was the best.
She really was.
But she went out in the best way possible.
It
was so good.
It was so good.
It was great because she made him, she asked him if there's going to be pain or anything, and she waited to tell him until after he was like, yeah, it's going to be fine. So she knows for sure. And then she's like, oh yeah, hey. And the thing that was great, I think, is I don't remember the actor's name, Nikolai something or other, who plays Jaime. The expressions on his face during the time that she was talking to him went from shock to sadness to anger, and it was all just in the face. It was just amazing. I think he did an awesome job. So
I love that about that scene, watching him register what she was saying after he had been so proud of himself. He was so proud of himself, not just for the fight and not just for taking them down, because he knew, like she said, they weren't known fighters.
Right. Yeah.
But he was so proud of himself for having convinced Cersei not to do something awful to her and just give her a peaceful death at someone of her stature. He was like, I'm good. Look, see, I'm being good.
Yeah.
And she's like, poosh, punch you in the face.
Yeah. The best part, I mean, you know, it wasn't a violent death, but wow, it was so good. And it was so her. Like it was just so that character.
Yeah.
Just
they really kept true.
Yeah, because she's gotten away. She basically got away with killing Joffrey this entire time.
Yeah, like, nobody knew
it so well. That no one suspected a thing. And I think especially after, you know, Cersei like killed her granddaughter and her grandson, like,
and her husband.
Yeah, and her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. He was totally forgettable. Like he only had like 3 lines the entire time he was in the show, but he was just a jovial like guy. He was like, she's like, oh, go away, we're talking business.
Yeah. She's like, go to Bravos. And he's like, I would be proud to do that. I'm like, man, this dude is just not, he is not on top of things. It's like, how did he father Marjorie? Like him being just so dumb.
She got it from Olenna, apparently.
Yeah.
Maybe he's gone a lot.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Olenna was a mastermind, and I loved her, and so she's been the first really big character that we've lost this season. Yeah, so
have we lost any major characters in any of the other episodes? Just in last night's it was the Tarleys. The Tarleys died.
The Tarleys.
And this week's last night, because I'm behind, so I just watched it. But this episode, the most recent East Watch, the Tarleys died because they wouldn't.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they weren't
major. Yeah,
as major as Olenna was.
Because I didn't even realize that was Sam's brother.
And his dad.
And Chris didn't either. And I said, well, that's. I think I didn't say it to him until they were talking, and Chris was like, wait, those guys? He's like, when was that acknowledged? And I said, well, it was last season.
And the slowest episode ever.
Yes.
Oh my God.
They went to dinner with them.
That was just plotting. Yeah. I just felt like, you know what? Sam has told us that his dad is a jerk. You don't need to show us how we don't need it
so badly. So repeatedly in one scene do we need to have this? Like
I was irritated at that.
He brings Gilly and the boy there, and he freaks out that,
and his dad is a total jerk.
Awful about the whole thing.
Anyway, let's back to this episode again.
Okay, thank you. So I don't know. Do we really need to say much more about Highgarden? Because it's just like
no, it was the best death scene.
Yes,
we're sad she's gone.
Yeah, we're sad she's gone.
One thing that I'm a little disappointed about is that we know about these locations and we're seeing them for the first time.
I know,
but we're not really seeing them. You know,
Casterly Rock and Highgarden have been talked about on all throughout the series, and we get one scene in each.
A generic looking castle, that's kind of disappointing.
Well, I think it's mostly like a budget issue, I guess.
I would think so too. Too many locations, too much stuff to do, and other more important things to take care of. Of course, Highgarden's going to be lush and green because it is got the bountiful food resources and all that stuff. So, okay. So Dragonstone.
Yeah. When they first met, I was like, why is she being so mean to him? Like, really, honestly, why is she being so mean? But then when I stepped back and thought about it a little bit, that's the way she dealt with all of the slave masters and everybody. Yeah. And we're just coming from a different perspective, like knowing that he's not a bad guy.
Right.
Yeah. But she's like,
yeah. She stayed true to character. I didn't have any, any hesitation. I didn't think she was making the smartest choices with how she was trying about it, knowing him and knowing his character. Yeah. But
And then the other thing that I noticed too is the way that she was sort of holding her hands in front of her as she was walking, exactly the way that Cersei does.
Yes.
I was like,
actually, that was one thing I was going to bring up, is I see more and more parallels between their characters.
Yeah.
Than I've ever seen before. And a lot of that has to do with the dress, because they've both like shifted into these dark you know,
leather,
quilted and leather, you know, anointed with some sort of, you know, striking jewelry, kind of like the, you know, you said that the crystals, and on the, you know, the most recent episode, she had that, I guess it was a dragon that was kind of across her chest or something.
Yeah.
Some pin.
Yeah, she's had that pin with the 3 heads on it.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
So, and I've seen that, and I've seen in their mannerisms and the way, and when she wears her hair back, she looks more like her, you know, and she has her hair braided up, which I knew was, you know, practical for the episode when she's flying on the dragon, but still that difference, because she always had, one of the things I always loved about her as a character was the fact that she was more feminine, even though she was coming in these positions of authority. Mm-hmm. She always maintained a level of femininity, and I feel like that's slipping away. And, and I'm a little worried about that, because I think, you know, like they're worried that she might become mad like her father, and like drunk with power and irrational and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that's an indication of that potential.
Yes. Yeah. Also, I mean, I don't think that I mean, yes, everybody's worried that she's going to end up like her father, but if you think back to her whole ancestry, the Targaryens, not cool people, because you know, like they fly over to Westeros and say, this is ours now. We've got 3 big dragons. Tough, it's ours now, you know. So I mean, it's not that out of character really for her to be like that. And I think, you know, once she got to Westeros, she's more like, she knows the parallels between her and Aegon, who was the first Targaryen to conquer. So I think she's getting she's I don't want to say more confident. She's definitely more confident, maybe more confident than she should be.
Yes, I feel like she's overconfident for sure.
Yeah, and acting like she's better than everyone. So
and that's where her approach to Jon raked me the wrong way. Because she was coming at it with like, I have this righteous indignation, and of course we as the viewers know his history, and we know his lineage, and so we know what he doesn't know. I mean, he's not walking in there knowing that he's her nephew, and you know, shares a bloodline, and you know, all of this stuff. Like there's no knowledge of that for him, and we're just saying, but he still acts out of that honor, which I think it makes him pretty unique as well, and not very he's not very showy about it. I think that's the other thing that's pretty interesting about him too.
I mean, the big thing that happened there is how he stopped Davos. He was about to say that he died, and he's like,
well, he did. they stabbed him hard.
I know, and it's come up now a bunch of times. I wonder, you know, if Dany's gonna, like, because he's like, oh, Davos gets we're jumping to the further episode, but oh, Davos gets carried away, and she's like, oh, so it was a figure of speech, but he didn't answer. He doesn't say for sure that that's what it was. So I think it's going to continue to come up. Honestly, they've done it a couple times. I think that's gonna they're gonna figure it out. She's gonna hear about it somehow.
She's not gonna let that
why
go.
She's like so fixated on that though, because she doesn't really have any experience with people being brought back from the dead, really, does she?
Well, except for her. Well, I'm gonna say brought back from the dead, but she feels like she's a little immortal because she can go through fire.
She was reborn and all that.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see.
So I read a fan theory, a popular fan theory, that Jon's heart is no longer beating.
Oh, so he's like a vampire or something?
Well, it's just that, you know, that the reincarnation that the Red Priestesses do, or the Red Priest do, don't actually reanimate the heart. That the body comes back to life and they can breathe, but they're not. So they're living, but they're not fully living.
Heart that's one thing. that Beric Dondarrion says in like the season 3 or whatever, it was like every time he's brought back, he's a little less of a person than he had been before. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's interesting.
It's just an interesting idea because like I said, my original theory was about how Jon having been brought back and being south of the wall was part of what was going to compromise the magic that kept the White Walkers away. And so that started to get me thinking about, well, okay, if his heart's not beating, maybe that's part of that magic.
Yeah. And why Dany's so obsessed with the knife in the heart.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So do you think he still has like the marks of like being stabbed like 30 times?
I think so.
I assume so.
When he was brought back, like that's what sort of freaks him out. Like he wakes up and he's like, oh, whatever. And he looks down and sees all the marks on his chest, and then is like, what the hell, you know? Mm-hmm. So I would assume he still has them. I don't know though. I maybe they heal. I
don't know. And then that, that calls back to whatever kind of reanimated flesh he is. Like, would he heal? Would he heal normally? Would he heal the same way he would? Yeah. I don't know.
Is he now like kind of invincible because he's been reanimated?
Maybe. I don't know. Although, Beric Dondarrion, he's the one who has been brought back before, but he's not invincible. He can still get killed. Mm-hmm. And Thoros brings him back every time. So I would assume the same thing would happen with Jon. And he made a point of telling Melisandre last season, if I fall, don't bring me back. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So I don't know. I mean, hopefully they're going to kind of tell us how all that works.
Well, I have this idea that, okay, so if we do have a little incest happening between Dany and Jon, my thought is she's going to put her head on his chest.
And
she won't hear heart beating.
Yeah.
And then she'll bring the stabbing back up again. That's just a thought I had in my head. This is how my brain works. If you want a picture of how the Good Doctor's brain works, this is it. You give me a seed of an idea and I plant it and I'm like, oh, look, what about this?
Yes. Right. Well, I mean, it's definitely going to be an issue. They wouldn't have brought, the fact that he stopped Davos, that she brought it up again, and then she's brought it up again. Mm-hmm. So,
because she brought it up to Tyrion and asked him, what do you think that means? Oh, well, the men in the north like their tall tales. And then she brought it back up to him too. Right.
So why do you think Tyrion is like dissuading her from pursuing that? Do you think he suspects something?
No, I honestly thinks that he thinks that it was just Davos. Just
whole tale exaggeration.
Yeah. Give them their flights of fancy. It's dreary in the north.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, maybe he just doesn't want to complicate things because he can tell that things are getting out of hand already.
Right, like keeping.
And he hasn't had a lot of experience with the red priests or priestesses. So, so the person that he talks to the most is Varys, and Varys does not like Melisandre or
her people.
Which we see in that episode as well, because when Jon arrives, she's up on the cliff overlooking, and Varys comes up and is like, what's the deal? Why aren't you down there? And she finally says, like, hey, we parted on bad terms. And she says she's leaving, and he's like, oh, you should stay. I don't think you'd be safe here. And she's like, oh, I'll be back, dear spider, one last time, because I have to die here. And so do you, which I thought was awesome.
I know. That scene was...
Yeah, it makes me wonder if Varys has some other kind of role that's tied to the priestesses.
I don't know. He was
because of his whole backstory, because that's
and they made time to tell his backstory, so it has to come back in again, or it should at least.
Yeah, and I mean, he was supposedly kidnapped and castrated by a sorcerer of some sort, so maybe it was someone of the red religion. I know last season he got freaked out. Was it last season or the season before? I think it was last season, when they were bringing in the red priestesses in Marine to sort of help keep the peace. Yeah. And one comes up to the temple and is like able to recite his past to him. And he was so freaked out by that. So it'll be interesting. I mean, obviously everything's interesting, but that's a neat little It's a neat little plot line too that I would like to see expounded upon, because
I'd like to see where that goes
going on there.
Yeah, what the significance of that was. Yeah. All right. Shall we go on to the spoils of war? Do we pretty much cover? The only thing we didn't talk about in depth was Sam.
Oh, right. Yes. Sam.
Being, Sam being
successful. Yeah, he was successful. Yeah. I mean, the best part of that was just Jim Broadbent. He's been such a great
I know. I love him. I just love seeing him. He's so good. Yeah.
It's like tapping him with a thing like, And like Jorah's like, I just started feeling better, I thought it was the best. Maybe the climate. And he's like, the climate. Yeah. It was so great. Yeah. So
we didn't talk about Sansa at all. Sansa and Bran.
Oh yeah.
Oh right,
right. Yes.
I skipped that chapter in my paging down. Yes, because this is the reuniting of Sansa and Bran. Isn't that episode? Is in the Queen's Justice. Yes. Which with all of my favorite memes about him being, he is the, your brother when he comes back after his getting his philosophy degree, or your brother after he comes back from college after learning to smoke pot or something. Like, I'm deep now.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quickly though, I think the thing that when Littlefinger was talking to Sansa right before Bran showed up, the sort of what he was telling her about, like, anticipating every possible thing that you can so that you're not surprised by anything like that.
Ridiculous speech.
Yeah, but he has. I mean, at that point, up to that point, he's been good at really anticipating everything. Mm-hmm. But Bran coming back as this person who can see things, there's no way that you could have prepared for that. That's just something there's no way. Yeah. And for later on too, Arya coming back, prepare for that either. But it's funny, like, he's like all this wise, like telling Sansa, hey, you should do this because this is the right way to do things. And he's like, oh crap, I don't know what to do about that. Yeah. I cried when Sansa and Bran, when she like hugged him. I cried during that part. Yeah. It wasn't as emotional for me, but when Sansa got back to her with Jon last season, my friend that's really into the show, she said she was pretty emotional at that. But this one I just felt, I'm not sure what it was, but it just felt more emotional for me. And Bran's so sort of like, distance. Mm-hmm. Just, oh, hello, Sansa.
Well, like you said, he's not quite Bran anymore.
Right.
Like later on.
That's the next episode. He talks about that in the next episode. But yeah, he does come back and say he knows Bran's life or sees Bran's life, but he's separate from it now.
Yeah. And I actually think, they go out to the Godswood after Bran shows up. And I actually think Sansa was kind of like, he's gone, he's mad. He's gone loopy. He's just not, until he stops and tells her about her wedding night. And then she gets freaked out. Because I really think before that, she's just like, has he lost his mind? Yeah, what's going on?
Well, I thought it was so funny because what she says to him is he's like, well, I'm the three-eyed raven now and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
And I loved the stark, like, honesty of that. Like, I don't know what that is. Like, can you like help me here? And then then he goes forward and does the reveal of all the details. And and then she's taken aback by it, as she should be, because who wouldn't be? But yeah. I don't know.
She's doing kind of a jerk move, though.
What?
That was kind of a jerk move on Bran's part
to bring that up.
Up of all things.
Well, yes, but I can understand.
Yeah.
Like, if you wanted something, it had to be something private. It had to be something few people saw. That would have been a strong. And I wonder, like, can he just pop in and see anybody at any given time, or does he only see the moments that have that depth of emotion associated with them?
That's what maybe. I think someone brought up. I heard like this theory that like he doesn't really have that much control over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like still trying to hone it. So maybe that because they're at Winterfell, he's seeing that particular moment because that's where it happened.
Yeah, that could be too, the tie to the land or to the I wonder, like, because I know he gets some of his visions from touching the godswood, and I haven't, you know, tested this theory out, but my suspicion is that he sees the past when he touches the godswood, but he sees the present when he's near the godswood but not touching it.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he'd see different things at different godswoods. Like if he was at a different tree, does he see different things? So he's sitting underneath the godswood at Winterfell when he says that. So is that one of the reasons why? Because that tree is weeping for that moment.
Yeah, maybe. I also think too, like, I think he understood that she thought that she wasn't going to take him seriously about what was going on. So he knew he had to tell her something to prove.
He kind of has to. I think he knows he has to do that with everybody. But she does the best with Littlefinger, though.
I know.
Chaos is a ladder.
Yes,
I know.
We had to stop that. We rewatched that like 3 times. I'm finally like told Chris, I'm like, turn the captions on. Like, this is driving me bonkers. I need to just know what he says.
Oh, you couldn't understand him? I couldn't understand the captions
him. I'm like,
on.
what?
There's too many between Littlefinger and who knows who else. Like, there's too many like low talkers on this show for me to understand.
Yeah, it was funny because we left him on after that. Because I was like, this just makes it so much easier right now. I don't have to worry about like trying to decipher what people are saying.
Yeah.
So, oh wait, no, we can wait to talk about the chaos is a ladder thing.
Yeah,
we can come back to
just the last.
Well, we can put that. I think that puts us at the end of the Queen's Justice, right? So we can jump into the spoils of war, which our summary starts in Winterfell with the scene of Bran looks at Littlefinger and says, "Chaos is a ladder." So let's go right into it. So yeah. So he's quoting back Littlefinger's words.
Yeah, he's quoting back what he said. Yeah, and then the look, like it cuts to Littlefinger, and the look on his face was like, "What?"
Well, because that was a scene between Varys, I think.
Varys
and Littlefinger
talking about
second season, I think. Yeah.
Who were they talking about? I didn't know. I didn't catch the reference. I didn't know that it was something that he'd said before. I knew it had significance, but who were they talking about, or what was the significance of the scene originally?
It's his little speech thing kind of goes over like his voiceover continues while it shows different things. And one of those is Sansa when she like realizes that she had the chance to get on the ship and she didn't. And she's standing there, like, just crying with Shay next to her.
Oh, right.
So the second season there. And it also goes over when the gruesome way that Joffrey killed
Raz. Oh.
Yes. Because Littlefinger found out that she was sort of double-crossing him. So, So that speech of his goes all the way over that. I don't know, is that the finale? It's got to be close to the finale.
It's close. It was either the penultimate episode or the finale, right?
Yeah. So that's when he says it.
Varys says something about chaos being a pit, and and Littlefinger's like, no, it's a ladder.
Yeah,
you can use.
Yeah. Yeah.
That Littlefinger.
So yeah, he's been like behind this entire time.
I don't like that Littlefinger.
A little bit.
Yeah, I honestly think though, in the spoils of war, after hearing Bran say that, and then after seeing Arya come back and just really be able to take on Brienne, that's something else that he didn't anticipate. You can tell by that he's a little thrown off. But like I was telling Regina earlier, it only took him one episode to get back on his feet and do his stuff.
Start playing the game again.
Yeah, so
right. Did anyone? I feel like someone mentioned that they knew that she was in that they knew Arya was in Braavos. But I might be imagining that.
I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's possible. Like Varys knows where everybody is all the time.
Yeah, right. Somehow.
But the only people like that know that she was going to Braavos were the person that she got to take her there, and then the only people who knew when she was there was Jaqen H'ghar. So. Yeah, I don't know. It's possible, but I really don't think that Littlefinger knew that. everybody thought she was dead. I mean, you know, as far as I can tell, everybody thought she was dead. And
yeah,
I don't
they
think,
just assumed,
yeah, I don't think that they thought that she was important enough to keep an eye on. So like, even if Varys had the ability to keep an eye on her, she just flew under the radar.
They probably just said she was just going to disappear. I mean, she was a kid.
A kid. She's a little girl, you know, what's going to happen?
She's not going to be able to do anything. She's not a major player in this game we're in.
Yeah.
Dun,
and
dun,
lo
dun.
and behold,
Lo and behold, don't underestimate the women in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Just got to say.
Yeah.
If there's anything that we've learned. Because even Sansa surprises me these days. So
yeah,
I thought she was the most vapid character at the beginning. You know, I'm glad that she grew because she was kind of annoying. I mean, you know, it was in character for her to be
now
that
she's
way,
like the most competent lady of the Lady of Winterfell.
Yeah.
Which I think do you think she paid attention when her mother did that? Because that's who she was.
I'm sure she did.
Yeah.
I'm sure she did. Yeah.
Because that was her dream. Like when, you know, in the first season, when Ned is trying to convince Arya to be a lady, and she's like, that's not me.
Yeah.
You know, it was Sansa. That's what Sansa wanted. It's all she ever wanted, which is why Arya says that to her when they're reunited.
Yeah.
You know, it suits you. It's what you wanted. And
yeah.
So I'm sure she was, you know, paid very close attention. Modeled after her mom.
She's just like somehow like out of the blue, very competent.
Right.
Well, I feel like that. I feel like that transformation happened to her after she got away from Ramsay. There was
I think, you know, it's been building slowly because, you know, like she said she learned so much from Cersei. She was paying attention when she was being basically held hostage in King's Landing. And then she's been paying attention to what happened to her Aunt Lysa and how Littlefinger sort of orchestrated all that. And she's probably learning more from him, I think, than a lot of people, which is good because she knows what
he's driving the events. So
and I think one of the mistakes that he has made is coming out and telling her that he wants to marry her at the end of last season. When he tells her that, I think he so misinterpreted. Like he thought she was going to be like, oh yeah,
fawning over him.
I was like, really, dude? Really?
Yeah.
Like you sold her to a freaking psychopath. Why do you think that she is going to have affection?
You had the hots for her mom.
I know.
Exactly. Like for your whole life, to the point where like Ned wanted to slap you senseless because you were constantly up in his wife's business. Like, come on. It's not like she missed any of that.
Yeah.
Littlefinger is like the perfect example of this concept I've come up with. You know how they have body dysmorphia, right?
Yeah.
So I think of people in terms of personality dysmorphia.
I think I need you to explain that a little bit.
There are some people who think of themselves in one way, but really don't behave like that. So like the connection between like what they think they look like to people and what they actually look like to people is completely different. Like they'll think they're competent with something, although to other people on the outside they look like a mess. So for Littlefinger, I think he thinks he's looking like this, you know, debonair, you know, charming, you know, together.
I brought the knife for the veil, which is one of the things that I love.
I brought your dad's bones to the winter.
Right,
I know. I was like, really?
I delivered them. Don't you see how connected I am to you and your family?
I only got him killed. I mean,
John
orchestrated his death. So
John was not having any of that when he wasn't going. I was like, of all the things to say when you're walking in to talk to somebody, basically to try to, you know, subvert them in some way.
Right.
And that's the first thing you say. I delivered
Remember how your dad's dead?
Yeah.
Your dad was dead.
And like even when he did that, he's like telling Kat like, oh, maybe this is an opportunity for us to be together. And she's like, get out.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? What?
See? Dysmorphia. He
exactly.
thinks something of himself that is not. Like nobody sees him the way he thinks people see him.
Well, I think that's just he's just a classic narcissist, really.
Well, yeah. I don't, but I don't think everybody who does that is a narcissist necessarily.
No, in his case, I think
in his case, I would definitely go with that. Like, he definitely rings true. Although he's far more incompetent, or far more competent than some of our political figures who are similar personality and are highly incompetent.
Yeah, no,
that's the most I'm going to get tonight.
He's intelligent. He knows what's going on. I mean, living in King's Landing for as long as he did and being able to sort of rise in power, taking the step, chaos as a ladder, how he was able to take the steps. He wouldn't have done that if he
make the mess and climb over the bodies.
Yeah,
that's what Littlefinger does. Is he makes a mess and he builds off it. So yeah. So let's talk about the dagger that he gives Bran.
Yes. So it's the dagger that the cutthroat. I mean, it's basically he says like who owned this. That was the other thing that was confusing to me because Bran asks him
whose dagger was it? Yeah.
And Littlefinger was so forthcoming during the first season, like, oh, it's mine, but I lost it in a bet. So I don't know why he didn't say that. Like maybe that wasn't true in the first place. But also with Bran asking that, I'm like, he's touching the friggin' dagger. He probably knows who the dagger.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Did we ever figure out who actually orchestrated that? Wasn't it Littlefinger?
No, it was
it really was Cersei. Okay.
Yeah. Because there's that part where Jaime like comes into her room and she says, I actually think Jaime planted, because like
Jaime planted the chambers
and she's like, why were you so careless and all that kind of stuff. So I was pretty sure it was her and Jaime, but
so it probably wasn't his to begin with. So
maybe
Littlefinger.
He says it was his, and he lost it in a bet. But yeah, I think Bran asking him might be Bran testing him.
Yeah,
as well, because if he knows who it belonged to, and he knows whether he's lying or not when he says that.
Yeah, because that is an interesting question to be the one that he comes to. I mean, other than it fits into the plot where he says, it's the one who this is the dagger that started the war that we're in right now. But other than that, it is an interesting sort of direction to go.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's right after that Bran throws back the chaos as a ladder thing. So I think, that was Bran's way of saying, like, I'm on to you. So you didn't give me a straight answer just now. So, yeah. And it goes straight to Arya, which is the other thing, too. I was telling you, I think my prediction is that Arya's going to use that dagger to kill him because Bran could have handed it to either Arya or Sansa. He handed it to Arya. Specifically. So
and if he's seen what's happened to Sansa, you could make the leap that he's seen what happened to Arya and he knows
Arya
who she is. Arya. He knows what she is.
Right.
I love that scene too where he's like they're in the crypt and Sansa doesn't believe her about her list of names. Just like, the Lannister soldiers didn't believe that she was going to go kill the queen.
Right.
It's the same type of thing. But then they get with Bran and Bran's like, I saw you. I thought you were going to King's Landing. And Sansa's like, why? Why would you go there? He's like, Cersei's on her list of names. And I'm like, oh. And then Sansa's like, what?
What'd you say, Isabella?
He's just tapped into the Godswood network.
Yes. Exactly. Like he picked all that up.
Keeping an eye on everyone.
Yeah. And then of course Sansa, sees firsthand what Arya has become when she's fighting Brienne, which was really awesome.
God, that scene is one of my favorites.
It was funny because I was watching it with my husband Isaac, and Brienne's like trying to teach Pod, who is he's just it's not going to happen for
no. But he tries, and you gotta love him for trying.
Tries, yes. But when we saw Arya sort of like walk in from the back of the courtyard, and Isaac's like, oh yeah, they're gonna throw down. Here it comes. There it comes. And it was awesome too. I loved watching that fight scene. It was amazing. So and especially it ended with they each have the Arya's got the dagger at Brienne's throat and Brienne's got her sword at Arya's throat, which really likes that one's not better than the other. They're sort of like evenly matched, but different, very sort of
different
fighting
abilities.
style.
Yeah. Because she's like, well, you can't fight me with that little thing. Really?
And then Arya's like, I'll try not to cut you. You know, it's just like that taunting. You know.
I know. She's so sass.
I know. I mean, that's one of the things. Like, she has just been. And Isaac was talking to me about this, that he thinks that something's going to happen to her because she's sort of been like above everybody, like almost like a godlike character, being able to carry out justice, like with no questions asked. And even in like, I know we're jumping ahead, but her interactions with Sansa in like the last episode and being, you know, just the way she's acting is just, it's understandable that she's become like that, but it sticks out even more because we've seen her, what she's like at Winterfell before when she was young, and she's never haven't interacted with these people again for so many years. And I think even when she was over in Bravo, she didn't quite come off that way. Like she still seemed to be like, you know, Arya a little, but when she got back, she was like Arya plus evil. I mean, so
she's still a girl with a name. She's just
exactly. That's one thing I loved about that fight scene too, is Brienne's like, who taught you to do that? And she's like, no one. Yes. Which Brienne doesn't know what it means, but everybody
she doesn't know the significance of it, but the audience is like, oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I worry with I read this somewhere too, I can't remember exactly where it was or what the context was, but somebody was saying something about how the Starks often are hot-headed and will act too quickly without consideration for what's happening. And I'm wondering if that's going to be part of her downfall with this setup that Littlefinger has done in the next episode after this, which we can get to at that point, but that's going to trigger in her a gut reaction she's going to act out of that isn't going to be, well, it's not going to be good. I mean, there's no way it can be good.
Right.
Because it's Littlefinger, so.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like, you know, they sort of like make like, oh, sisters, we haven't seen each other forever, but at the same time, that same sort of tension is still there. And then in this last episode, it looks like it's multiplied even more.
Yeah, I agree. With the conflict with, you know, Arya calling her on, they were bad-mouthing Jon, and you need to stop them from doing that. You need to stand up to them. And then she calls her on the, you're thinking of taking over, and that's why you're letting them badmouth them. Yeah.
Sansa's like, at that point, she's seen her fight. She's freaked out. She's like, I got work to do. Like, go away.
Yep. Funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we go to see what's going on in King's Landing in the Spoils of War?
Sure. Let's do that. I don't even remember what was.
This is when she meets with the bank guy from the Iron Bank.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Shows him her pretty map that she had painted.
Right. Yeah. That was a great conversation that she had with the bank. How he's like, we don't make bets, we invest and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, it's just a fancy way of saying bet.
Right. Exactly. Just using fancy language for this.
So she was very eloquent.
And he compliments her and says, you're your father's daughter.
Yeah. So, I mean, did anything else really happen?
I don't think so.
Like really it.
Yeah.
He just talks to the banker.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm looking through this.
That's pretty much all the summary is.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Tycho. His name is Tycho.
Tycho.
Yeah.
Tycho, I think.
That's not a name I would have known. I know most people's names, but
he's just a banker. I mean, you know,
I think he was one of the same ones that was there when Stannis went over to ask for money. I think that was the same.
I think so.
One of the same guys.
Because I know that actor.
Yeah.
He's on. Yeah. I just call him Mycroft because he plays that on Sherlock. And that's all I can see him as.
Sounds funny. Well, that works that way sometimes. Yeah.
So if we're done with King's Landing, then we're at the battle.
Yep.
Which I was not expecting Were you guys expecting that? Like this early in the season?
No, but with everything happening so fast now, I'm not.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was so awesome because I love the scene. Well, this is where they go into the cave too, right? So yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah. Let's talk about the cave stuff.
Let's talk about So let's talk about. So we have the scene with Danny and John go into the cave, and he says, "Here's the dragon glass, and this is where we're going to start digging it up." Yeah. But I want to show you this first, and he shows her the picture of how it's the children
of the forest
the forest, and the men had to fight together to fight the White Walkers.
Yeah.
Because of course the whole thing is everybody made all these jokes about every time Jon Snow's in a cave with a woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Was this a little foreshadowing? By the way, I'm not really on the they should get together thing, but I do think the show is kind of leading that way. With a couple of I
wonder if I think they're going that way, but I wonder if they're going to take a turn off.
Yeah, I kind of wonder too if it's going to be
because we'll see. That seems to me like very sort of obvious,
too
kind
predictable.
of what everyone would expect. Yeah, so
well, that's what I think they're like trying to build up, like the trust between them and like kind of build something there, and just for her to find out that like either that he's kind of a zombie or that he's
related to her, right?
Yeah. Because if she finds out that he's a Targaryen, that puts him in like direct competition with her claim to the throne.
Right.
Yeah, I think he would have the claim.
He would have.
Well, yeah. Now that Gilly has figured out, it's a big secret.
Yeah. Well, let's stop. Let's go.
We're not going to get into because that's not this episode, but I just had to throw that out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
Sam.
So it was sort of funny that when they were talking to each other, in the cave, and she's like, "I will fight for you when you bend the knee," and then she goes on about like, "Isn't your people's protection worth more than your pride?" And I'm like, how about, isn't like helping thousands of people worth more than your pride?
Right. Exactly. Like, can't this go both ways? Like, why does it have to be your way or the highway?
Yeah.
I felt that way
too. It's funny. I saw this meme has been going around. It's someone got like photos off the side of like
I know that.
Ron and Danny when they were filming, like you see them on the cell phones, like, "Hey, who's this? It's Ben. Ben who? Ben Denis."
Yeah. Yeah, she's in the gray and she's in the dark clothes and she's on, Dragonstone, it looks like, or whatever.
Yeah,
but she's on
they were having a break and shooting or whatever, and they were both on their phones.
Yeah, I've seen that one a few times too.
Yeah.
So they have their little talk, and then she gets slapped down because that's when she finds out the news about Highgarden and Casterly Rock, and knows that half her troops are now stranded and Casterly Rock because the boats have been burned and all that stuff has happened. So she
has no allies left.
Right. Yeah.
Not like allies with armies.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe you should be smack talk in the north. That's
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I thought that was, of course, perfectly timed, as it should be. Right after she's having this conversation with him, she's trying to push her pride and her will on him. And it's like, oh, you need to really make this work with this guy because you don't have anybody else left now. Yeah, exactly. Which is fascinating, because then she turns to him and says, well, what would you do?
Right.
And then he gives her the best piece of advice she's gotten, which is don't go in and burn everything down. Yeah, you can do that, but that's going to make you just as bad as everybody else you're trying to fight against, and people aren't going to believe you.
Yeah. And she takes that advice. She doesn't go she just goes where she knows the army is and just does that there.
Which is awesome. But that's what's so funny is then Theon shows up, right?
Right.
To beg her to go find his sister, and then Jon says, well, she's not here, because at that point you don't know, because we don't know what her decision, and that was like my favorite edit. She's not here, and then all of a sudden they're at the Lannisters, and I was like, oh
there was so much suspense set up in that. It was so great, because it's not like Battle of the Bastards from last season, like you know there's going to be a battle.
You got those two armies like looking at each other across the battlefield.
Yeah,
everybody's going to die.
I loved how they did it. Like Braun's like, stop, listen, and you can hear the rumble a little bit, and then they call all their army. They have them line up, and then you can hear the Dothraki. They're sort of screaming stuff before you see the horses come. And yeah, it was awesome.
It was really well done, because at first I just thought she would, fly in with the dragon. I didn't realize that she was going to be bringing the Dothraki. When he said she was gone, I was like, oh, she took the dragon and she's going to go there.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that the Dothraki were going to be there too. So I was waiting for him to hear the flapping of the wings. Like that's what I was waiting for and then of course you're sitting there as you watch the Dothraki and the dragon's coming.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I was so excited.
Also, Braun's like, get back to King's Landing. And Jaime's like, no, we can hold them off. And then the Drogon, you hear Drogon's cry. And I love how he sort of swooped like out of the cloud.
Yes.
And they're like, oh crap.
No.
Yeah, Jaime just looked absolutely like terrified. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Here's this thing I've only seen like the skeleton of one of these things. But here comes one that's like the size of a mountain.
Right. Yeah. Drogon is definitely as big as, if not bigger than the Balerion, the Dread, which is the big skull that they have in King's Landing.
Yeah. Where they took and did the test of the weapon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which actually worked. Aim wasn't quite right, but it worked. And I think it was important for Dany to see that.
Right. That's what I think was more important about it. I think she needed to see that they could be vulnerable, because she was going in again with that pride and that overconfidence that I think she's going through right now. I have dragons, and needs to recognize that they're not, and she said, well, in the next episode, she refers to them as her children. She needs to realize that she's putting them at risk in this. This is not, something that is not going to do any damage to her, or to them.
Yeah.
But man, that just watching Drogon just go with the flame, like right along the row of the carts, I'm like, oh, this is just so deeply satisfying.
It's funny too. I watched the behind the scenes thing of that. And so obviously the dragon gets, CGI'd in after the fact, but they really did need to blow up this whole line of carts. And just watching them, because like they have to do everything perfectly because they only get one chance at it.
Right.
Once they start blowing stuff up, there's no way to do it. So it was cool to see that everybody's like sort of nervous a little bit and double checking the fuses and all that kind of stuff
to make sure it goes exactly as it's supposed to. Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah, that was awesome. But that was probably one of my favorite battles.
Yeah,
there are a couple.
The other thing that they brought up too. Sorry, is that this is the first battle we've seen where we have characters that we sort of like. On both sides.
On both sides. Yeah.
We're not rooting for either of these sets of characters to die. Like if it was Cersei on the one side, it'd be like, whatever.
Burn her down.
Yeah, Jaime's kind of likable. Bronn is likable. I really thought Bronn was going to die in that battle.
Yeah, so did I. As soon as he went for the scorpion, the big crossbow weapon, I was like, oh, he's gone. Don't do that. Send Jaime. He's like, you can't do this. Needs both hands. And I was like, oh, send Jaime. Don't you go? Because I honestly would rather have Bronn live than Jaime.
Right. I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna make it all the way to the end.
Bronn is just the guy that makes it like.
Yeah.
Like everything has burnt down and Bronn's still there.
Right. With a bag of gold that he's pilfered or, been paid.
Yeah. It was one of the things that I loved about that is when he fell off the horse and the gold sort of spilled.
And he's like, oh no.
Yeah.
He looked at it for a minute before
before he runs, he's like, can I make it? Can I get it? I think I could. Maybe I can. And then he doesn't.
Yeah, that was so funny. It's so him. This is such a great character. The other thing too that was like really cool with the behind the scenes thing is they've been doing this thing. I guess it happens in lots of filmmaking now, is doing like one long continuous shot, And you don't understand that unless you're really, really looking for it. You don't notice it. But they did it in Battle of the Bastards, where they followed Jon for a long time with the one camera, you know, no cuts. And they did that with Bronn too. This time. So it's just neat filmmaking thing.
Yeah, they do a lot of things like that. I try to pay close attention to that. It's one of the reasons why I like to watch the episodes again, because once I get past the emotional reaction I have to things, I can go in and look at it.
Dragons!
Yes. Yes, fire. Burn them with fire. Sorry, that was always my thing in World of Warcraft. I was always a warlock, because I like to, and I always told people it's because I like to set things on fire. It's not like how I am in real life, but it is definitely how I am in game.
So I like playing a ranger so I can shoot things.
Yes. Well, it's best if you're a ranger with a weapon that shoots fire.
Yes. That's an option.
Then you got it. Then you got it going on. Then you're good. Yeah. Yeah.
So that battle was amazing.
Yes. And then, of course, Jaime thinks he's going to take her
Jamie's
out.
an idiot. Just like Tyrion says, like, no, you idiot, don't do it. She's a dragon.
Yeah. Yeah. Jaime.
Yeah.
But, the episode ended, with him sort of sinking, and Isaac's like, so does that mean he's dead? I'm like, no.
Of course
he's not dead. They can't kill him off soon. I mean, even if he doesn't make it through the entire show, he's not dying this season.
And he's not dying in that way.
Yeah, that's just
he was not going to drown. Let's be serious. Although I was a little miffed. I guess we can move into the next episode. So when Eastwatch opens on Jaime and Bronn coming up out of the water, I was a little miffed that Jaime still had all his armor on, because they swam across the river. Yes. And he still had all his armor on.
What do you do? Walk across the river?
Right.
Right here at the bottom of the
Yeah, I mean, even though, you can see Bronn sort of dragging him, and I'm like, man, did Bronn drag him all of that way with his armor on?
I'm like, why wouldn't you, unhook his armor, or, at least try to get him to, shimmy out of it and drop it? But no, he still got it. I was like, no, come on.
I don't think
he get dragged
to do that.
Yeah. I think he did get dragged along something, though, because when he pulled, his armor is, coated in mud.
It is coated in mud. It is gross looking, but I'm still like, come on.
And they took it up quite a bit of ways too.
Yeah, they're far. You look at the, the smoke's off in the distance, and Chris has asked me, he's like, where are they? And I'm like, he's like, did they swim across a lake? And I'm like, well, apparently it was a river that they were swimming across, but apparently they swam across the river. Now, a point of note. Okay, now I wasn't sure about this, but other people I was talking to said, so they had already delivered the money, right? The money didn't get burned up.
Right.
That's correct.
Darn, I really wanted the money to be gone, because I really wanted Cersei to be penniless as well after this. Yeah,
I think, and they made the point right before that happened. Tarly came up. He's like, the gold is safe through the gates of King's Landing. So they made the point of letting you know, she's still getting her money. So
I was bummed about that, because I didn't catch that, and I was like, oh, the money's gone. But then I figured if the money was gone, there would have been a shot of it melting when dragon destroyed it. It would have been like, oh, look, this one, of this row of carriages that we've burned up is melting because it's all the gold that just got destroyed. No.
Right. Yeah. That would have made things too easy, though. Didn't get her gold.
Yeah,
that's just if they didn't have some way to wound the dragons, it was just way too easy, too one-sided.
Yeah. Well, and she was too. Daenerys was too powerful. That's what everybody said. She had to come down because she couldn't go in with all of what she had, or there would be nothing.
Yeah. So also, talking about the little ruthless Targaryen coming out at the beginning of this episode.
Yes.
It's really funny because she says, I'm not here to murder, but at the same time, join me or die.
And she just lit a whole bunch of people on fire.
Yeah, I'm like, really? That's kind of murder. You know? If you tell people that they've got one choice and they disagree with you, that's kind of murder.
Yeah.
Kind of, little bit.
A little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, no, it's interesting to watch Tyrion's reaction to that he's trying any way to get her to think of making consideration and doing something else. And
yeah,
she's just like, I said what I said, and this is what we're doing.
And then the he doesn't make it any easier, you know, for Tyrion. He's like, you're not my queen. You can't send me to the wall. And,
right. Yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff. Tyrion tries so hard.
He does.
I was like, dude, what? I can't understand the motivation in that. Like, really. No. I was just like, you're gonna die.
Well, he was, you know, if we go back to how he was towards Sam and Gilly.
Yeah.
He's a terrible person. And he's married. And at this point, like, I think for him, like, they showed that scene where Jaime comes up to him and says, you know, the men are going to follow you. If you side with my sister, the other men are going to follow you because they respect you. So, you know, if that's, you need to come with us. And I think that he made kind of a decision at that point that he was going with this. Like, I think he was on the fence before it. And I think once he made that decision, he knew he wasn't going to go back.
Yeah.
And Jaime was also the one that planted the idea of the foreign leader and the foreign armies in his head, because at that point he says, are you going to follow some foreign queen and some savages that she brings on bareback? You know, are you going to follow? Are these the people you want leading your you know, so I think he plants all that in him, and then he's just entrenched in it by the time this comes around. So
yeah.
But what about the fact that he named his son Dickon?
Okay, apparently it is an old medieval name.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. It's just funny.
It's like, ridiculous.
Especially since Jaime has gotten it wrong like 3 times.
Well, on purpose. You know, he's doing that on purpose.
Well, no, I don't think Jaime.
Oh no, I think he is.
Oh, you think so? I didn't think he would. Yeah. Because when he corrects him, you know, when he says Dickon and Braun's there, he just starts busting out laughing.
No, but I think he did it. I think he did it on purpose because he knew he would correct him and that it would amuse. Like, I think he played that. Because, you know, the Lannisters, if nothing else, yes, the Lannisters may always pay their debts, but the Lannisters always know how to play people.
Yeah.
Like, all of them. Unfortunately, Tyrion is, like, the least adept at that because he is the most emotionally bound to the family.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Jaime's the same way, too, because
he misses because of his connection.
He failed his manipulation of Olenna. He totally failed there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's so emotional
because she was sitting on more than he could have ever known. Like, he could have ever known that she was gonna pull out the "I killed your son" card, because that doesn't happen every day. But yeah, so I just, you know, it just cracked me up, all the Dickon jokes.
Yeah,
which don't really make sense. Like, that's not. Do you think that's a thing in Westeros?
Probably not. I don't know. The thing I kept seeing was like, with the guy shows up with the best porn name ever. On.
Yeah. And then they roast him alive.
Show. Yeah. What?
And then they roast him alive.
And then they roast him alive. Yeah.
Because he's dumb.
He's so dumb.
Needs to go down with his dad.
He is. He was a nothing character. But I was just gonna make a joke and say, well, now he's dick off.
Wow.
I went there. Sorry. It's late. We're recording at night. This is what happens. I get a little punchy.
Okay, so I have a question.
Uh-oh.
So if Dickon and his dad are both dead now,
yeah,
does that make Sam the heir?
Yes.
But hasn't he technically given up his rights to everything?
When you join the Night's Watch, technically that he's given up everything. But now he's gone to the Citadel. He's quitting the Citadel. I don't even know where he's going.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't sure about. Like,
I honestly have no idea.
Yeah, like is he going back to the Wall? Is, you know, the other thing is I don't know how much he knows about what has happened to Jon.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he doesn't know that Jon's at Dragonstone. Although I guess he could imagine because he sent the Raven telling him to go there.
Yes, I know. But I mean, like, how, like, I'm just thinking, like, how did Sam know the whole thing about him getting killed? Sam wasn't there. He left before that happened. He went down to the Citadel before Jon was killed. So they hadn't seen each other all of last season. But at the same time, he sends the Raven to Winterfell to Jon to say, hey, here's all this dragon glass. So I don't know. So maybe he found out some way, but I just thought that was kind of odd and almost maybe a missed opportunity to sort of see how Sam would take that, because we're such close friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's one thing that I've been wondering, but
well, I still can't figure out why Bran hasn't told anybody that Jon is Targaryen.
I think he wants to tell Jon first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He needs to
or
get
maybe
that.
he just doesn't see it in like the barrage of,
or maybe
like,
he doesn't see it as being important.
Yeah.
Because there's so much stuff. Like, that's just a small thing.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he doesn't understand the important parts until he's with the person.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he knows that, like, I mean, when he first shows up with Sansa, he's like, I need to speak with Jon.
Right.
So I do think too that he just wants to tell him himself first, so that he knows.
He probably doesn't want to trust it in a raven for obvious reasons.
Yeah, that, and then also, saying something like that at Winterfell, that he's not really.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Well, he's still a Stark too. I mean, he's a Targaryen Stark, but he's not a.
Yeah, but at the same time,
he's not a Stark bastard.
Yes, he's not.
And
a bastard at
now,
all.
Thanks to Gilly, we know he's not a bastard at all.
Yes. I love the way they just sort of just slid that in when no one was paying attention.
Wait!
Not even Sam.
Keep your PMS in check, dude. Like, rein in your emotions.
I don't know if he was paying attention, if he would know that meant anything about Jon. He hasn't seen any connections there. Like, Bran is the only one that knows.
He would have known who Rhaegar was, and he would have known that the importance, the significance of him having gotten
an annulment,
and immediately in a secret marriage. He would have known that was important. He wouldn't have known why it was important or that it was important to Jon.
Right.
So now what I'm trying to figure out is little Gilly.
Mm-hmm.
So they steal a bunch of books when they take off, right?
Did she take that one?
Did she take that one? Because it's the one she was reading, even if it wasn't of interest to Sam.
I think that's the one she would have taken.
Would she just have kept it?
He picked the book up and set it. He took it over to the bed and set it in front of little Sam.
The baby.
Did he take her book?
Was it
he was taking.
It was the book that she was reading.
Oh, I thought it was the book he was reading.
Oh,
the one he was transcribing.
He wasn't. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'd have to watch it again. I'm sure I will do that. But I'm pretty sure that's the one that he grabbed and set in front of little Sam. So I would assume
that it came.
That it came with them. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, there's no way we can't go back to this.
Yeah.
Right. Sam has got to be the one that puts it together.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, like, even like that had been a question, I think, even up to this point was, yes, we know that Rhaegar is Jon's dad and that Lyanna is his mom, but we still didn't have any confirmation as to whether, their relationship was consensual or what was going on there. And now we know that they were actually married.
Right.
So,
which is my suspicion all along, was that it was some sort of, illicit romance, and that she loved him, because she whispers something very long in the vision.
Yeah.
Bran can't hear it, but she whispers a lot to him and says, and then finally we hear, you must protect him.
Yeah.
So I think she must at that point have told him, because that look on Ned's face at that point is, like,
what? Yeah.
Whoa. Like, so it had to have been something big. So I'm assuming that it was, we're married, he's legitimate, he's the heir, etc.
Yeah.
And then you've got to protect him. So.
Right. Because he wouldn't have hidden who Jon was so well if he wasn't
he needed to
important. Yeah.
Yeah. I love how that was. I mean, I just love the way that piece of information was delivered. I wasn't expecting it to just come out of her mouth, like, wow, really? And then Sam goes into his diatribe. And I love how she just sits there. It's like, she's so patient and everything. She just sits there and lets him do his thing, and he's like, there's the number of craps or whatever this guy took, and she's like,
no
steps. that was the number of steps.
Which makes me think that even if they don't take the book, she'll remember that bit.
It could be. And we'll see. That'll be interesting. I'm waiting to see how that that plays out. But if he doesn't have the book, he won't have the proof.
Right.
I think he needs to have the book with him because he needs to have the proof.
So where the heck is he going?
I know.
No clue. Like, just no clue whatsoever. Like, he's not going to take her back to his family home, even though they're close to it.
He doesn't know that they're dead because there's that part where the Archmaester says he had the heart to tell him. Yeah, he would find out then.
Like, it's actually a safe place for him to go back to now, but he doesn't know that because he didn't tell him that.
Yeah.
Right. He wouldn't expect anything good if he went back to his house.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And also too, I don't know if he would go back to the wall. It's funny that
he's gonna go to Dragonstone. That's my only guess.
Yeah, I guess that's a safer place to go.
Like, he would turn himself to Daenerys and say, I can help you.
Going up north is super dangerous right now.
Right.
Well, and not something he can do. Like, he's not leaving with any money or any means to do anything. But he's on the same continent, right, as Dragonstone, or close to it.
I don't know
Dragonstone is an island. Dragonstone is an island off the coast of Westeros. It's its own. It's technically part of the continent, but it's an island. Like Hawaii or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, no. Old Town is at the southern part of the Westeros continent, so he's got a long way to go. If he were to go to Dragonstone, he'd go north and east and then sail,
because I can't figure out how they're going to get on a boat.
Unless that's not where he's going. Like, he doesn't know that Jon went to Dragonstone. He just told Jon that the Black Glass was on Dragonstone,
right?
So maybe he's going to Winterfell. I mean, it's possible that he might be heading for Winterfell or the Wall if he doesn't know what has happened to Jon, which I don't know. I'm not going to get that question answered. I don't think how he found out. I still he was gone. How did he find out? Like, how did he send Jon or Raven to Winterfell?
Right.
If he didn't know what happened.
I mean, the Maesters miscommunicate between themselves, right?
And they had to put a new Maester into Winterfell.
Yes.
After Ramsay left. So
No, that was the Maester that was there with Ramsay.
With Ramsay?
Yeah.
I thought that it was a new one.
No, it's the same one because they don't move, they stay with whoever owns the house. But yeah, it's definitely the same one, because when Ramsay stabbed Roose, the Maester had just been there to say that that Roose had a son, that his baby boy, Trueborn, had just been born. Right. And then, Ramsay stabs him, and he's like, looks at the Maester, he's like, you didn't see this, we were poisoned. And the Maester's like, okay, yeah, it's the same Maester. It's the same one. Yeah. Right. So yeah, the last Maester of Winterfell was killed during Ironborn, when Theon those guys.
Yes. Who Jon doesn't kill.
Yes.
And I really kind of wanted to see him punch him, although
I know.
I kind of don't need to see him get punched anymore.
Theon doesn't need any more abuse.
Theon's been had enough stuff done to him that, like, okay.
Theon is gonna die.
Yeah, he
has to.
Yeah. That's the only way that he'll get redemption. He's gonna sacrifice himself either for his sister or for one of the women. He's gonna sacrifice himself for that, because that's the only way we can see redemption for him.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet it has something to do with his uncle and Yara. Because I guess his uncle right?
Yeah, and that's what he said. He wants the queen to go get his sister
get her back. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's he's got to have some means of self-sacrifice. He's got to give himself to save her, because he didn't in that moment. Like, that moment was too long in that pirate fight. That moment was too long. There was too much consideration there for him to not give him a chance to fix that.
Yeah.
So go back.
The other thing too that I think is kind of funny is how much Jon is like just grabbing people and threatening to kill them. Because he did that little finger too. It's like his thing now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you.
I'm gonna kill you. I'll show you. It's turning into a cartoon villain.
I just wonder, like, if that's going to happen again, who else he could possibly, like, grab by the collar and shake and throw up against the wall.
The Night King?
Maybe. That would be so funny.
It would be funny. Yeah, it would be really funny. He's like, I'm going to kill you. Oh, right, you're King of the Undead, but I'm going to kill you. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something. Again, people, the hour's late. All right, so what else happens at Winterfell? We have Bran sees he wargs and sees the ravens and sees the the extent of the army that's coming.
Yes.
And it's not good.
Yeah.
At all. They're headed to Eastwatch.
Yes, so he sends ravens to everybody, including Jon. And one of the funny things, like, you know, Varys is sitting there with the little thing, and Tyrion's like, "What's that? Like, who's that for?" And he's like, "Jon Snow." And he's like, "Did you read it?" And Varys is like, "I don't like."
It's a sealed, you know, message.
Sealed thing. And Tyrion's like,
or for
okay,
Jon
what's
Snow. Right. What does it say? I know. I love that scene too.
Yeah. And then there's just Jon. He's like, "I thought Bran was dead. I thought Arya was dead." And then Dany's like, "I'm very happy for you." And it sounded like, I don't know, it didn't sound very sincere.
It didn't sound very sincere at all. Not at all. Yep. She's like, "Yeah, you have family. Good for you."
Yeah.
Good for you.
But before that, we should talk about him with the dragon.
He
Drogon
touched the dragon, which sounds dirty, but it's really not.
Right. He stroked the side of its face.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, and the dragon was taking long, deep breaths in through his nose right before he did it. So
yeah. And Dany was like, what is going on?
Don't touch my babies.
Yes. And Drogon has not been nice to anybody else. And I know. I was hearkening back a little bit to there's that one part in when she's in Marine and Drogon has been gone for like forever, and he lands on the top of the pyramid. And she's like so excited to see him, and she holds her hand out and he sniffs her and then he flies away. So I think that was sort of
calling back to that
scene a little bit too.
Interesting. Now doesn't Tyrion walk up to them, but he walks up to the two smaller ones that she had imprisoned, right?
Yes, he released the collars on the smaller ones.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So when he's the only one who's the only other person who's gotten close to the dragons at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Since they've been grown. I mean, all of Dany's like handmaidens or whatever were helping feed them and stuff. But since they've been grown, those are the only people.
Yeah.
And I think Drogon has been nice to anybody. He wasn't even nice to Dany at some point.
He would nip at her.
That's why she's so surprised. Yeah.
And I think it's so the other thing that kind of happens there is they crack the plan.
Yes.
To bring back a living dead person to show to Cersei.
Yes.
The Ocean's 11 plot. Build a team with reputable skills.
I was not expecting that at all. Like,
good.
Surprise people. Like, it's like, here, find a dead person and bring him back.
Yeah, that's like the craziest thing anybody could ever suggest. Let's go get a dead person and bring him back. What?
Don't they? I've never seen a zombie movie.
I know. Of course not.
Yeah.
This is how it starts.
Right.
Yeah. It was funny too when they were at Eastwatch and Tormund's like, so how many queens are there? It's like 2. And you have to convince the one that has the dragons or the one that sleeps with her brother. And he's like, both.
I know. It's so funny.
I love Tormund. I love Tormund. I've been sad that his character has not been in the season so much.
He's a good example of a character with a few lines who has great impact. A good
Tormund is the one that's like in love with Brienne, right?
Yes.
Yes. And he asked Jon if
did you bring the
Brienne?
Did you bring the big woman?
The big woman.
Did you bring the big woman? And then he's like, oh. He's like crestfallen. He's like,
yeah.
It's like, darn it.
You couldn't throw me a bone. Jon Snow is like the worst wingman ever.
Right. Yes.
Jon Snow can't even be his own wingman.
Oh man, yeah,
he knows nothing.
He does know nothing. That's very true.
The other thing that I wasn't expecting was the Brotherhood to be there.
That I didn't expect either. Although they were headed north, so I guess it's not that surprising. But like, I didn't catch that at all. Like, I didn't see any of that in terms of like, oh, we've got other people who want to get out there too. And I was like, what? Like,
yeah. So it's interesting now though that they have both of the resurrected people in the same place.
Because also leading to my theory that it's them coming south of the wall. And if they're gonna bring somebody who's you know, a White Walker down, I'm like, are you not listening to me? Did you not hear my theory? You're messing this up even more, people. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but the other thing, Gendry.
Oh my God.
Back.
He's so cute. I knew as soon as Davos said he was going to flea bottom, I'm like, Gendry, finally.
It's funny too how he said, like, I was worried you might still be rowing.
Yes, because that's been the meme, right? Like it's been 4 years. It's been 4 years since he was on the show.
And he didn't know how to row when he set him off. He like had to tell him to turn around in the boat. So
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It was interesting. So I was watching on Amazon, and you know, they have the little X-ray like trivia things. And they said that it was the first time that Gendry, the actor who plays Gendry, had been included in the opening credits.
Oh.
Like, his name is in the opening credits.
Oh.
So, yeah. So that's pretty significant. If he been, you know, not included before and he was now. So he must be in position to take a pretty strong position this season and next season probably.
Especially
with that big old axe.
I know. Hammer. Which is so awesome because that's what Robert Baratheon's
did you catch that it had a stag on it?
I didn't see that, but
when he reveals it in the boat, you can see the stag has been he did a stag on the wrapping part on the handle thing or whatever.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
that little exchange there too with the gold cloaks that find them out by the boat was pretty funny.
Oh God, Davos is just it's like, what is this? Yeah,
I know. That's like you get to see like all of his tricks that he did when he was a smuggler. You know,
you get to see who he really is. Although when he walked away, when they go to get back in the boat, the first thing Chris said was, "He didn't go back for his money. He just gave them money. Why wouldn't you loot them? They're dead now." Like, it's not actually a video game.
Right, exactly. You're not going to take their clothes and you know, their weapons.
Take their armor.
I was just playing Fallout, it's totally beside, but you know, obviously you can take stuff from the bodies in Fallout, but it looks like you've taken stuff from the bodies. So if you take stuff off people, they're all laying around in their underwear. It's it's pretty funny. They're
love that. There's things about Fallout in underwear. Yeah, that's just too funny. All right, so we've got our plan from Daenerys and that they're gonna go trap a White Walker. This is gonna be a nightmare and a disaster.
Oh, and
how the heck are they gonna get that?
Oh, Jorah, right?
Yeah.
What?
Jorah?
How exactly do they even plan to get that thing
down
anywhere?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. They're
like
gonna build
it up?
cage, like a cage or a box or something. I mean, they don't have to worry about it suffocating because it's undead. So I mean, this would be the first time we've seen people transported in trunks in this show.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because Varys got a hold of the sorcerer guy and had him shipped to him, and then Tyrion obviously was shipped in a box.
Right, that's
over to Essos. But that's the only thing I can think of is that. But the thing is that even like really get close to anybody from the army of the dead, they're gonna have to get close to the White Walkers. So
how do you think the White Walkers are gonna react to Jon?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. And the other guy.
And the other guy.
Yeah. Well, I think the Night King, He's knows John.
Magic, and he does know John because
he does know John from Hardhome, and they sort of like he connected. Yeah, he marked John as sort of his threat. Yeah, they had a moment exactly. So he's gonna know who John is. I don't think he's probably gonna, unless they can somehow sense who's been brought back to life. I don't think he won't know who Beric is.
Right.
But we know Beric's gonna have his flaming sword. Like I said,
know.
Yeah,
he might be Azor Ahai. There's a theory that I've read though, is that that Beric Dondarrion is going to fall, and his sword, he's going to die. His sword is going to go somewhere, and that John's going to pick up his sword, and then that makes him the
chosen
person in the prophecy, because he's pulling the flaming sword out from somewhere. Not just making flames appear on it like Beric Dondarrion does. So I don't know. We'll see. We're going to have our big battle this week. It's penultimate episode of the season.
Oh my gosh, already? How?
I know. Yeah, I know exactly.
Especially since we just had a battle.
I know.
That's all that happens now.
Yeah.
Do we know how many episodes are in the final season?
5.
What?
5. It's 5.
I'm thinking, this is a year away, but I think we might need to plan to do weekly for 5 episodes.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because it's just going to be, there's this thing, if they're going to keep this kind of pace, there's just going to be too much packed in for us to try to do anything else.
Yeah.
All right. So at King's Landing, we also get another revelation.
Yes. Cersei's pregnant.
Or is she?
Or is she?
Or is she?
Or she just
I don't think she is.
You think she's
You don't think
faking?
she is?
Yeah, I don't think she is. The timing is just so
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, what she said there is that might be the reason for her to maybe consider having a discussion with Dany.
Yeah.
Unless she's plotting some way, like they're going to get to meet and she's going to have Dany killed or something, which is completely possible.
Yeah, she's got to have something up her sleeve. She's got to, even if it's just to get the measure of who Dany actually is.
Yeah.
Because Cersei's going to think that she's going to be able to intimidate her, and Dany's going to think the same thing about intimidating Cersei. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm very curious to see what that meeting will be like, which I'm assuming is going to be in the final episode of the season. But I told Nicole this story already today, Isabella, but I will tell you because it did amuse me to no end. So the scene where Jaime goes into her chambers and sees her with her crazy maester, and she walks over, and then they have this discussion, and she's sitting in the chair, and she says, well, we have this to protect, and she puts her hands down, and I swear to you that I thought she grabbed her crotch. And I'm like, dude, we do not need to protect your old box. Like, this is not what the war needs to be about.
Well, to be fair, that is what set off the war.
Right. Yes, exactly. It is.
Actually, that's true. Yes. So, that and the dagger and the child falling out of the window. But yeah.
Only because she was
but I seriously thought she just like kind of like men will grab themselves. I literally thought she just like did a crotch grab. We need to protect this, and I'm like, protect what? Like what?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so but the thing about her talking with what's his name? The maester.
Her crazy maester.
He's asking if she wants anything, which I'm guessing is like, do you want any herbs or whatever for your like morning sickness?
Right.
But I also wouldn't put it past her to orchestrate something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know what to think anymore.
Yeah. Although, she's been, I mean, as evil as she is, like we talked about this before, she's been so always thinking she's like in the best interest of her kids. Her children have been the most important thing to her. So I mean, honestly, if she knows she's pregnant, that's going to change her mindset.
Yeah,
of
it
everything.
is. Yeah, and that's the one defining characteristic of her is her devotion to her children.
Yeah.
And if she is pregnant for a fourth time and is a viable pregnancy, then it won't break the curse that the witch or the prophecy.
The prophecy that the
witch said where she was going to have 3 children. She's going to lose all of them. So, you know, it could be a big, game changer for her. So,
yeah.
Okay. There was also someone had the theory that if she dies in childbirth, that would technically be kind of like Jamie killing her a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Thus fulfilling this prophecy.
Right, yeah.
Right, yeah.
That would be interesting.
Throw that out there.
Yeah.
Although I think time, it's moving way too quickly now for us to even get that far, I think.
Yeah.
Well, now, though, we're going to have a very specific measure of time.
Right.
If she's pregnant, we're going to know exactly how time is moving.
Passed.
Yeah. So.
Unless, of course, you know, women in Westeros only carry their babies for 2 months, you know.
The seasons don't work the same way, so why should pregnant?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, this could be a thing.
Yeah.
Who's to say their gestation is the same length as ours is? The only other pregnant woman that we've really seen who's been a character was Daenerys and
Gilly,
right. Well, we saw Gilly give birth, So, but we don't know. We didn't see how long she had been pregnant. We saw Daenerys' pregnancy evolve, so.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Hers evolved kind of quick, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
She went from sort of just being pregnant to very pregnant.
Yeah, I could be on something here. I could be on something.
You could be.
There was this Next Generation or original series? Oh no, it's not. There was a Buffy episode with some creature that impregnated them, and like they gestated in like 2 days, and then
there's always a magic pregnancy.
Right. Yes, it's like a whole thing. It's like a trope. It's the
X-Files.
Right.
Fringe, like everybody has done it. You gotta have some reason.
Does Cersei have a magic pregnancy?
Right. I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the show.
Not by a long shot.
She has a zombie mountain protecting her.
Sorry, I'm just cracking up.
So wait, okay, random thought. Do you think is his name Chiron, the Maester? Do you think he somehow came across some like old like text somewhere that said how the White Walkers were created and created the mountain, or he's like some totally different breed?
No, I think he's
a monster.
He doesn't have blue eyes. The White Walkers have the glowing blue eyes that you see when he like pricks the baby when he's born.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't think it's the same magic. I think he's done something else. But I thought you were going to go a different direction with that. I wouldn't be surprised if her crazy maester was somehow involved in this pregnancy happening.
Right.
Yeah. Like helping her maintain her fertility, and that maybe the baby is going to be born kind of odd.
Medieval fertility drugs.
Right. Let's think about that for a second.
You know, he's the one besides the Red Priestesses that have brought someone back from the dead.
Right.
Although his did it kind of a more Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's what I think of him. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting though if they catch one of the army of the dead and they haul it down to King's Landing.
Right.
Like, what is
he in the room at the mountain?
And they're like, we already have one of these guys.
Right. Been there, done
nothing
that.
New. So we've got like 3 types of undead walking around.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have the resurrected.
Or 4 if you count the Night King as a separate kind.
Yeah. The White Walkers, are separate from the army of the dead. They're sort of like the commanders, or
Right.
whatever. So yeah, so you've got the White Walkers, you've got the general zombies, which follow the White Walkers. You've got John and Barrick, who have been brought back to life.
And his uncle.
Benjen was done a different way.
Which
Benjen
was also
the
different.
children of the forest.
Yeah, he was basically stopped halfway from dying. He wasn't like brought back to life.
So he's like half a White Walker.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why he couldn't go near the wall.
Yeah.
And then we got the mountain.
And then we have the mountain. Yes. Frankenstein.
They just went all out on this.
They did.
Thing.
Like,
unexpectedly. The surprise zombie show.
Unexpected zombies.
Yeah. I mean, well, they do. I mean, to give them credit, the very first part of the very first episode shows you the White Walkers.
Yeah,
true.
Like that's what it was going to be about. I remember.
We never hear from them again for like
for the seasons. Like that whole season. You don't see anything. You don't see hide or hair of it. I remember Julie, who was my friend, who I turned on to the thing. She was like, "Why was it this awesome scene with these like zombies and it's never there again?"
Yeah, like, you know what? That's what happens in the books.
Yeah, I know. I read the books, and I was like, well, that's what happens in the book. You get the the prologue, and then you never go back to it.
Well, I guess that is a very good way to get people to keep reading your books.
Yes.
What the hell was up with the zombies? 4 books ago.
Let me tease you with this.
Yeah.
9,000 pages between this one scene and the next time you see these characters. But hang out there. All right, let's wrap up with. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what happened when we talked about.
Yeah, I was gonna say Arya
and Littlefinger. So, like I said, Littlefinger's back on his game now. So he's trying. Seems like he's trying to make Arya hate Sansa even more.
Right.
He already does because
bigger divide.
Yeah, Arya thought she was being all sneaky, but he was actually just luring her into a trap. So he picked up the scroll that Sansa wrote the very first season that Cersei made her write to Robb.
Right.
Hey, you need to say that Joffrey's the king or whatever.
Right.
So that's the scroll that he planted there that he gave to Arya, which Arya reads and is like, oh, Sansa.
Right, Sansa kind of caused all this. She's my dad's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
I'm worried about that because I'm worried about, like I said, that gut emotional reaction being her undoing in that.
Yeah. But what would she do with that?
I don't know. Unless she lashes out at her.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Littlefinger's plan is that she's going to lash out at her in some way. Although this is kind of a shaky plan because if she was going to lash out, she could kill her. I mean, what's going to stop her?
And then there goes Littlefinger's security.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that would be interesting if that's what happens.
Yeah, but I definitely think it's in his best interest for them not to be happy with each other.
Right. Yeah.
That gives
he needs them infighting. He needs infighting within the Stark children, and I think he thought he was going to inspire that with giving Bran the dagger, but then it backfired, and Bran wasn't what he thought he was going to be. Yeah. And so now he has to go and, thinking that he pits his sisters against each other. I'm just hoping that she's smart enough to, Arya is smart enough to talk to her or do something other than just.
Or figure out that she wrote that under duress because she was a hostage.
Yeah.
Or figure out that Littlefinger is the one that's playing her now.
Yeah.
This time, which is the best shot of him I think ever.
Oh my god,
he's sort of the half shadow type thing. Yeah,
like that's who he is.
Yeah, exactly.
That is his true self in that shot. Oh man, I just want to see him go down. Okay, so let's see. What are we looking forward to seeing in these last 2 episodes?
Littlefinger dying.
That's the thing until he finally dies. I don't think he'll die until the final season, though.
Unfortunately. I think Theon will die by the end of this season.
Yeah, well, whatever. If they bring that plot back, if they go back to him.
It doesn't matter, because then Yara's just like
floating out there forever. Yeah.
Yes.
Like Gendry rowing on his boat.
Okay, I'm going to write I'm going to write down our predictions or what we want to see. So We want to see Theon.
Theon
dies. And I said, sacrifice of some side, self-sacrifice for Yara. I'll just go on record.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. All right. We know.
I still think Littlefinger's gonna get it because
this season.
There's too much that they're showing about what's going on.
It's building up a lot.
Yeah, it's building up. So taking that to the next season is just, I don't think that's going to work. I think he's going to get it this season.
Okay.
Maybe not until the last episode. Maybe not next episode. Maybe.
Yeah, but in one of these last 2 episodes that he would.
Well, I mean, if they're doing their normal plan of the
big one,
then we're going to be spending most of our time seeing the Battle of the White Walkers.
Watch,
yeah.
And the next one, yeah.
I don't want a battle.
You're only mad because there's not going to be a dragon.
We don't see anything else in the battle ones. That's what I'm worried about. It's just going to be a lot of.
Well, I don't know. We did this season. They actually did a really good job this season of using the big battles.
The penultimate one. That was the last season. It was the Battle of the Bastards, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And that was a lot.
Yeah.
There was a lot I didn't watch in that one. Where I was let me see this. And I only had a little bit of that with the people burning to death. But there was this scene where one of the Dothraki took, was it Braun's horse out by chopping his leg off?
That was a little too brutal.
Which was awesome, but I was like, literally shuddered at that moment. Yeah.
Well, that also tells you how much they know horses, man.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly what I thought was like, well, this shows their mastery. This is why they're going to best them if they ever fight them on horse again. Like there's just no way they're going to stand up to the Dothraki.
Yeah.
And like Jamie said, he's like, there was no fear. It was sport to them. They just thought it was fun. Let's have a fun Saturday afternoon. Let's go, fight these guys and watch them burn when we don't get them. Like anybody we miss is just going to get dragon flame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've known right from the beginning that that's what the Dothraki are, because they're like murdering each other at weddings and
Yeah, like that's their
thing.
There's a reason why they're called savages.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not unfounded. Not unfounded. All right, so we have Theon dies, self-sacrifice for Yara, Littlefinger dies. We're thinking this season, because it's building up to it too much anymore.
Jorah dies.
Oh, Jorah.
I don't know if it's this season. I'm thinking that might be a little later.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be sad. Like he just dodged this huge bullet. Now he's just gonna.
He had all of his skin stripped off. He should at least get a little bit more screen time after he's no longer turning gray.
Right. Exactly.
Come on. Yeah, that I agree that I think he's going to at least see Dany one more time. Like, I feel like there has to be something more between them. Yeah. Anybody else? Anything else? We know there's going to be the big battle. That's already been.
Is Dany going to find out about Jon before anything happens between them, or?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel
like going to find out.
Will they find out? She is. That might be like very, very end.
It would be really interesting if she finds out that he's Targaryen before he does.
He does, yeah.
That would be really interesting.
That would be really dangerous for him, though.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't know what Gilly knows, which is that he's legitimate. He would still be a bastard.
That would still be a threat to him.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
The other thing that's funny is that, he never, poor Jon, he gets put in these leadership positions that he never asks for. So, if it came down to, he would totally be like, no, I don't want this throne. You take it.
Right. Yeah. He totally would. He's not interested in this at all. He's just been put in it and has had no real interest in it. All right.
Okay.
I think we're good. Wow.
Okay.
I think we've covered everything, guys. So, like I said, we will be doing one more episode, wrapping up episodes 6 and 7.
If you can wait until
Yeah. I know. Maybe we'll keep that in mind. Maybe we will record next week, depending on how big episode 6 is. Yeah. And how long it is, because they are running really long. Like this last episode was 1 hour and 5 minutes, I think. So yeah. We'll keep it open. We might have 2 more episodes depending on what episode 6 looks like of season 7. Cool. But as always, people, we would love to hear what you guys think. Are you enjoying this season? I'm not sure if you're a fan of the show, how you could not enjoy this season. If you didn't like it, then yeah, I could see how you wouldn't enjoy it. But we'd love to hear your feedback. So leave us some comments on the Geek Embassy. Hit us up on Twitter at the Geek Embassy. If you don't already, please make sure to follow Gaming with the Moms and Nicole Tanner. And check all that out, because we're weekly episodes of that show that I'm on with Nicole, that she's a host for. So make sure to go check that out on Blogspot Radio. Blog Talk Radio. Yeah. Sorry. Blog Talk Radio. Right. Yes, the links are on the website if you want to get to that. And Isabela, as always, is the Girl Friday for the Geek Embassy and does a little bit of everything. You should also follow her on Twitter at Izzo Rizzo, right? And you're Izzo Rizzo almost everywhere you might be. Pretty much, yes.
Unless someone has stolen it. Like on Instagram. It's okay. I'm not bitter.
At all. Yes, quite. All right, people. Thank you for listening, watching, and until next time, watch out for the White Walkers.
Yeah, winter's here.
Winter's here.
Bye.
Bye.